السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His guidance and His forgiveness. We seek protection of Allah from the evil of our own selves and our own bad actions. Because whenever Allah guides, no one can misguide. Whenever Allah leaves to go astray, no one can guide them correctly. I bear witness and testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah alone, without any partners, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was His servant and messenger. O mankind, fear your Lord, who created you from a male and created from its mate, created from the many men and many women, many nations and many tribes, that they may get to know one another. Know that the best amongst you in the sight of Allah are those with the most God consciousness. O you believe, fear Allah as He ought to be feared, and don't die except in the state of full submission to Him. O you believe, fear Allah and always speak the truth, that He may improve your affairs, that He may forgive your sins. Whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has surely already attained a great success. It's Black History Month, one of my favorite months in the year. Probably my favorite month. Second favorite if you count Ramadan, but those are two different calendars, so who's counting right? They're both my favorite month. And we're Muslim. And you know this, but Black Muslim history is a thing, even if we don't commonly hear about it in the news. We don't commonly hear about it in school, and our parents might or might not appreciate it, understand it, live it. We might not think about it, but Black Muslim history is no joke. It's serious, full of lessons, full of people, full of events, full of organizations, full of movements. And it's way too long and way too deep and way too important to be addressed in one khutbah. But if I have to, I'd like to focus on the life and legacy of Muhammad Ali. Again, cannot be encapsulated in one khutbah. The globe was barely big enough for him. And this guy was global at a time where very few were. But we'll do our best. There's a number of points I think that could be extracted from his decades of activism, his decades of involvement, his decades of being a public figure. Among them, I'd like to start with his work ethic. Right. It might not be the first thing you think of when you think of Muhammad Ali. If you think of the Mamba mentality, Muhammad Ali was next level, and earlier, and before him, and bigger, and better. No comparison. Not that there is a comparison, right? But really, if we, besides Muhammad Ali, and besides Kobe Bryant, if we just look at sports generally, and a professional athlete we all love and admire, right? Our culture is kind of obsessed with celebrities, especially athletes. If you look at besides the fame and the words and the faces and the money and all that, right, which hits you in the face, if you look at the behind the scenes, you'll see that these people are super dedicated and very committed. You cannot be a professional athlete, let alone the top of your sport, let alone the athlete of the 20th century, which was Muhammad Ali. The athlete of the 20th century. Think of all the different sports and all the different athletes all across the world in a whole century, 100 years, multiple generations. He was named the athlete of the 20th century. Means you know he was up at Fajr, doing his push-ups, doing his pull-ups, doing his jump rope, doing his boxing, his training, his, what's it called, the speed bag, doing all that stuff, right? Not a boxer. But whatever it is, and for basketball players, different training, different workout, but it's the same thing. And I'm saying this to a room full of people where I doubt any of you are athletes. Maybe some of you played in high school. Very unlikely that any of you play in college. I'll support you if you do. And again, statistically, it's almost impossible that anybody in this room is going to be a professional athlete. But I still start with the work ethic because it transcends sports. You can admire him, you can respect him, you can love him, and try to be like him in terms of his work ethic. Because if you want to be good at anything, if you want to be the best at anything, definitely got to put in the time, put in the effort. So I start with work ethic. After that, the use of his platform. Right? I don't know if you've thought of it this way, but I think this is a fact. He is the biggest personal brand in modern times. Right? So you look at all the people that are verified on Instagram and that have the millions, if not the hundreds of millions, and it becomes a handful of people that have hundreds of millions of followers on any social media platform. If you look at them, they're probably a musician, maybe a politician. Usually they're musicians, athletes, fashion, maybe a business owner, someone who's really known to own like many businesses that have a lot of money. What else? Things like a model, maybe. Athletes, musicians, usually. Know that all those people at his time, those who were top in all those areas, wanted to be in a picture with him, right? He had the clout, like he was the most famous man on the planet, right? The most famous American Muslim in the history of America, one of the most famous Americans ever, probably the most loved American on the globe, anyway, besides the point, right? He was it. And how did he use that platform? That's what's important, because plenty of people get excited about the thousands or the millions of followers, and then they're just put out, behind the scenes, this is what I'm up to, this is what I feel, this is what I do, this is what I'm into, this is what I love. It's me. It's all about me. Love me more, admire me more, look what I'm doing, look what I've accomplished. Not even mentioning the fact that Allah gave you all the things that you've accomplished. Allah allows you to accomplish things. Allah gives you all those skills and talents and hobbies that might make you famous or make you loved or make you admired. But Muhammad Ali used this global platform to bring the globe's attention to the suffering of his people, specifically Black America. Also, use his global attention, global reach, his platform to tell people about Allah, the Prophet, and the Quran, and what it means to be Muslim. And that in and of itself is a series of hooplas. A name that really hurts me that most of you guys don't know, but you probably don't know as young Muslims, but not Colin Kaepernick, sorry. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf was the original Colin Kaepernick. He was inspired by Muhammad Ali. Colin Kaepernick, I'm assuming everyone in the room knows, but in case you don't, he was the quarterback for the 49ers and he chose to kneel at the anthem. Ooh, big deal. He sat down, he put down a knee, because that got kicked out. So he basically sacrificed millions of dollars a year. It's probably been at least a few years now. Yeah, and his team was, in the Super Bowl, but that's besides the point. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf was the original Colin Kaepernick. There are pictures of him, and it's beautiful. I encourage you to look it up later on if you're interested in this stuff. Culture, politics, sports, culture. I said culture. The pictures of like, NBA players that stand up and, it's a pledge of allegiance, it's the anthem, whatever it is, right? This is the 90s, I guess, maybe early 2000s. And he's doing this. He's making dua, right? Everyone else is doing whatever they're doing. He got kicked out of the NBA. And he wasn't, just made it to the NBA, although that's impressive. I feel like every kid in Houston wants to be in the NBA because we have a culture of that in Houston. I grew up in Austin. But anyway, I noticed that. We're big on basketball. I don't think most kids realize how hard it is to get into the NBA. He wasn't just in the NBA. I believe, someone can check this, he was the third pick during his season, during his year. And I think he graduated from LSU. So when he was in college, he was the third to be picked that year to go to the NBA. So he was no joke. And he was dribbling against Michael Jordan. Right. And he got kicked out of the NBA because he chose to make a dua to basically be public about his faith, which is one of the themes of this Khutbah. People like him inspired Colin Kaepernick. And he was inspired by people like Muhammad Ali. Because Muhammad Ali did really bigger things decades earlier. So the use of his platform, as you can tell, I can go on and on. I'm very passionate about this. His courage, right? There's a hadith of Prophet saying that the greatest jihad. You guys probably never heard that word in this school, but I want the honor. The greatest jihad is speaking truth in the face of a tyrant leader. Basically, we say speaking truth to power, right? It's a hashtag. Everyone knows it. Usually used by people on the left, but no, that's part of our tradition as Muslims. Do you have to? No. Do you have to stick your neck out? No. You have to risk yourself, putting yourself in a tough situation. You'll probably be bullied because you stick out or because you don't follow the gun. Do you have to? No. But it's a struggle. And that sacrifice is something that's rewarded by Allah. So he was one of the loudest and proudest people in the whole country and really around the world to speak against the war. At that time it was Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. It's not that different, right? We have a war machine in America, and really it's a global phenomenon. I don't want to keep saying America like as if like I'm anti-America. Born and raised here, very proud, very blessed by Allah to be born and raised here. I wouldn't pick any other country. This is my country. I love it. But you can be critical of your country because that is part of patriotism. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But we'll come back to that point about patriotism. But anyway, he was one of the loudest advocates of the anti-war movement, saying that this is nonsense. This is where a machine would just go invade countries and attack countries and kill innocent civilians and drop bombs all over the world and do all this just because the rich find it profitable. Nonsense. You can't separate morality from politics. And for that, he was almost put in prison. And he was told, he's like, listen, just be quiet. That's all he said. You're a boxer. Have you guys heard shut up and dribble? Right? That was LeBron James, Kobe, I don't remember, to be honest. I should have looked it up for Khutbah. It was like a year or two ago. It was Trump telling one of the top NBA players, I don't have time to really watch the NBA, but anyway, it was one of the big names. I think it was LeBron James. He said, just shut up and dribble. Basically, just do your job. Same thing. They said, you're a boxer. Just do your thing. And in fact, there's a lot of money in it. They were pressuring him into joining the war. Now, they didn't want him to pick up a gun and go join the war. He's a boxer. But he has that global reach. So they wanted him to maybe wear red, white, and blue. Maybe say something like, I love America. I don't know, USA, something. He refused to do that, risking his boxing license and his heavyweight champion. He was like the youngest, I think, in history to win that championship. But those are two different things. His boxing license is his job. He was basically flipping burgers at McDonald's, doing anything he can just to pay his bills because he lost his job. And they took away his heavyweight title. Now, I don't know how you take away the heavyweight title from somebody who did nothing related to boxing. I mean, refusing to join the war, that's his belief. But anyway, he lost both of those things. One he earned justly, and one was taken stripped away from him, and basically forced him to find ways to feed his family. But he went through that. Again, all he had to do was probably say a few words, tweet a few words, like it's easy. And he would probably have been even more famous and made more money. He sacrificed all that in his 20s, at the peak of his career, when he was supposed to be continuing to be the heavyweight champion and challenge other people and defend his title and all that. Those important, like early 20s, which you guys are about to be there. I'm kind of leaving that phase, but in that phase, he risked going to prison, right? And when they told him, like, you're going to prison, he went around the country, he was speaking at different college campuses, telling people why he's doing this and why you should be Muslim and why this is, the anti-war movement is right and just and all that stuff, spreading his beliefs. He was doing that, people would come up in his face and tell him, you're un-American, you're unpatriotic, you're this, you're that. It's kind of like saying, you're a terrorist, or you're the N-word. Different words, but different times, different issues, but, same stuff, new day, right? And he would say, he was like, why would I go over there and kill them? It's like, my fight is right here. It's like, we have a conflict here. You think that it's okay to drop bombs around the world and to kill people just because you make a few bucks and you don't care about them? They're brown and you're white. They're black and you're white and you don't care about them? I do, they're my people. You're my oppressor when I want freedom. You're my oppressor when I want justice. He said this on college campuses. And because of that, he risked going to prison, in addition to losing his job and all that. But alhamdulillah, Allah made it work out in the sense that he went to Supreme Court and he won 8-0. Right? That's his biggest battle and his biggest victory. So it's hard to summarize when it comes to somebody who spent decades doing the right thing, but his discipline, I'm going to skip that for the sake of time. There's a lot to be said. His commitment to service, I think it's a beautiful quote. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. It's kind of a fancy way of saying you're human and you're not going to take care of other humans. Yeah, come on. I love it. Uncompromising in his principles. Kind of already touched on that. He was 25 and he was in Houston actually when he was going up against the Supreme Court. I think that's pretty cool. I'm 26. And he said a whole other point within this point. He was saying that it's my faith. It's the fact that I'm Muslim. I can't join this war movement. I can't just throw my body or myself or my word or my reputation or anything. I can't just throw it behind this machine because it benefits me maybe or it saves me from going to prison. But we're killing other people. Like, I'm Muslim. I can't just do that. I can't just join any war. You don't just kill people. Like it's not business. You don't just do an Excel sheet and say, oh, it makes money. We make money if we go into this country and if we do X, Y, Z and we're powerful enough. Like, might equals right. He's like, no, it doesn't work that way. We're Muslim. It's ironic. It's beautiful and it's ironic because today, in the last 20 years, basically my whole life, I was 8 when 9/11 happened. The world is saying Muslims are violent or Islam preaches violence. He said, because of my Islam, I can't join the war movement. Beautiful, yeah? I don't know if you guys thought of it that way, but that's a good dawah point, a good debate point if you're into debate. And like I said, he was called unpatriotic and un-American for all that, although that's nonsense if you think about it. How can you call someone who's African-American whose family's been there for 350 years, who has no other citizenship, right? Call him un-American, like what is he supposed to be, And his response, another beautiful quote, this guy is full of quotes. I am American. I'm the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky, my name, not yours, my religion, not yours, my goals, my own, get used to me. I can twist it around a little bit, not twist it, I should say, but you can change it around a little bit to apply more to us, because I'm looking around and I could be mistaken, but I don't know if there's any African Americans in the room. Love and respect people of all backgrounds, but usually my audiences in Houston are like me, Arab, Pakistani, etc. Immigrants or the children of immigrants. But for us, a lot of it relates, right? You can still relate to this. My religion, not yours. I set my own goals, I have my own worldview. I'm proud of my faith, proud of my name. My name is Muhammad, my name is Ahmed. If you can't pronounce it, that's okay. maybe come up with a nickname. I go by Abdul sometimes instead of Abdullah, but everybody knows, my teachers, professors, neighbors, colleagues, co-workers, my Uber drivers, my bus, they all know that I'm Muslim. It's not the same as calling yourself Bo because you're ashamed to be Muslim, right? You can make the name easier for people to pronounce, but you shouldn't be ashamed to be known as being Muslim. Clearly he wasn't. He was selling the world this at a time where there was an assassination culture in the US, but I guess that's another day. When people try to make you feel ashamed of your religion, remember that it was Islam that made him proud, and it was Islam that didn't allow him to go fight in a war. So don't let people twist the words of the Prophet ﷺ in his life and his legacy and our faith, right? They're not our teachers. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala rasulillah. I'll conclude with this. Clearly going through tough times. It's not the easiest being Muslim. It's been tougher. If you study, if you realize the fact that Muslims have been here for at least 400 years, 1619, 2019, that's 400 years. Last year was the 400th anniversary of the beginning of the first group of people being forced from Africa into slavery and brought to what is now the US. A fraction of them were Muslim. Again, something you probably never heard in the media. Well, there's a good article in it in the New York Times. Excellent article. But it's not the narrative we normally hear. And you might or might not have learned about it in school. You definitely should be. And your families might or might not be aware of this. But it's important to know. Muslims have been here for at least 20 years, and it was and it has been a lot tougher. Right? We're not going through anything comparable to slavery. But we are definitely going through a tough patch, right? A rough patch. It is tough to be Muslim. And in that you have a choice. You have a choice. I'm not saying even right and wrong. Life isn't always black and white. It's not always just like just halal and haram, right? Some things are, some things aren't. This isn't right or wrong, but the reason I'm here is I would love it if you guys would at least consider, right, what I think is the better option, the better strategy. And these are the two options. You can change your name, hide your face, don't be on social media saying what you really believe in about what's going on around the world and here in America and so on. You can try to fit in. Yeah. You can be a trend follower rather than a trendsetter. You can walk down the hall and make sure that you look like everyone else and wear the same clothes as everyone else and dress like everyone else and talk like everyone else. No, it's not wrong. You can do your best to do nothing that makes you fit outside, nothing that makes you stand out from the crowd. I know that high school is the toughest phase in your life. Not in terms of homework, I swear it gets worse. You don't have homework, trust me. You go to college, you go to grad school, you don't have homework. In terms of responsibility and commitments, it's definitely not the hardest time in your life. Think about when you have a wife and kids, right? Or husband and kids. But in terms of peer pressure, it's probably the hardest time in your life. It's hard to stick out, right? But that is the other option. It's up to you. I'd encourage you to not hold back. You're in high school, and then in a few years you're in college, which is even easier in some ways. Actually, a lot easier. Don't hold back. In person and on social media, make sure everybody knows that you're Muslim and you're proud. Make sure everybody knows that you pray, and you encourage people to pray, especially if they're Muslim. If they're not Muslim, and you have a basic relationship with them, friends, colleagues, professors, teachers, do your best with the little that you know, share what you know about Islam. Promise you, it'll be tough, but it's worth it. Check this out. The city of Louisville, Kentucky, told Muhammad Ali, we're gonna take away your citizenship. Now that's plain nonsense. It's like bullying, basically, because the words themselves had no meaning. How do you take away your citizenship? What is it gonna be? You've been in this country since forever, right? Generation after generation. You take away your citizenship. It's definitely a big insult. And it's definitely something scary if you think about it. Like, yo, where do I belong? They said that to him in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Decades later, a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, that same city named their airport Muhammad Ali International Airport. Stick by your principles. Know that you win long term when you do the right thing. And you know when people say about the right side of history, you hear this a lot, right, on the left. When liberals are responding to conservatives, or when people are saying to Trump and to Bush and to whoever, saying you're on the wrong side of history, like you might be winning this battle, you won the election, whatever, but you're on the wrong side because we care more about people, we care about the refugees and the immigrants and the homeless and this and that, which as Muslims we do. We care about the environment, of course we do. We care about racism, and you guys are racist, whatever. Right side of history, if you heard that phrase, there's a way to be on the right side of history. It wants to be on Allah's side. Because Allah defines the past, the present, and the future. And Allah decides what's absolutely right, what's absolutely wrong. We'll leave you with that. Let's end with the dua, inshallah. Allah shows the truth clearly and guide us to following it. Allah makes people that speak the truth even when it's unpopular. Allah grant us justice in our times, peace in our times. Allah unite us our hearts. Show us true freedom. Make us people of action and not just words. Sincere ambassadors of Islam and Muslims in this country and all over the world. Allah forgive us our sins. Have mercy on us. Protect us. Allah grant us the best in this life and the best in the hereafter. Protect us from the hellfire. Allahumma atina fi dunya hasana, fi al-akhirati hasana, wa qina adhab an-nar. قوموا إلى صلاتكم ورحمكم الله وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر وذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.